My name is Charles Dugan. I live in Leonardville, Kansas. My wife and I have two children, and we have one grandchild. And I've been doing this for ever since. I actually fell in love with John Deere's when I was a little boy. So I loved the old unstyled tractors that had John Deere on the radiator and stuff. And then I got into collecting a few. Then I got into buying and selling tractor parts. Started out with, we built a homemade crawler. Jess Lindman experimented with them, and John Deere decided that that wasn't enough difference between a steel wheel tractor and a tracks to make them. But I hate to tell John Deere there's a great difference in them. There's a lot of difference, a lot of fun. This is the second tractor that I've built, and it performs really, really well. The first one did well, but the second one it did even better. So, and my collection starts from 24, goes to 30. I've got every year in there, and then I skipped quite a few different years in there. I bought out a gentleman one time that had 56 Ds. He had every year of the D except for 23 and 51. I have no desire to collect every D because when you get into the styled ones, there's too many of them that are the same, really. So that's why I went with this, and just have a lot of fun. Two of the tractors that I have over here is I have a nickel hole D, and it was the first one ever fitted with a solid flywheel and the nickel hole flywheel. Found that from a collector named Ken Burns. A lot of guys that are hardcore collectors like Don Hans Knutz and guys like that, they knew. So that's where we are, and the yellow D back here is a corn bore, and it was made for the European corn borer. They had a problem back in Illinois, Ohio, and Indiana, and a couple other little states. They'd bought 440, if I remember right, from John Deere to rent out to the government agencies, and so that's where they had went. And when they no longer needed them, most of them went to were offered to other government entities, and most of them were all found in national parks. But that's kind of where we are. We always wanted to bring the crawler to Rollag. The first one was going to bring up here, and our truck broke down about 5 years ago. Rollag was doing a show on the home-built tractors, and I was going to bring it up then. But we took off in the car, and we just drove up here, and we had a great time. It's a great show. We love it a lot.
Okay, my name is Dan Thomas, and I am from Greenville, Ohio. And I purchased this tractor from a good friend of mine back in 2010. And what I got was just the carcass of a tractor, and through some investigating on what it should be, and really good friends with a lot more talented than me, we got the tractor in the condition it is today. And it took us about 7 years off and on to get it in the condition it is today. So it's a 1917 experimental water through boy tractor. And the engineer, when he talked about it in the history of water through gas engine, he said it had the nickname of the bathtub tractor because of the main case had a similar appearance to a bathtub. So that's where it got its name from. But everybody calls it today the Bathtub D because it actually transformed into the Model D, John Deere's first real production tractor. So, yeah. So I guess probably the best thing to do is just look at the tractor. It's a lot prettier than I am. That all right?
This was an experimental model that after John Deere bought the Waterloo Boy Company, they were trying to improve that Waterloo Boy design and come up with a new, more efficient tractor. It was a failure. The crane case wasn't strong enough.
They got a clear cover.
It wasn't strong enough. It cracked here. You can see where the original patches. So they scrapped the design, they scrapped the machine, and they threw it away. They buried it, okay? Well, about 20 years ago, or whenever it was, and Daniel will tell you all about us, they were doing some street improvements by the factory, and they dug up this case and found it. And nobody knew what it was. Yeah, this is what it looked like when they dug it up. So it got passed around a couple various collectors, and Dan Thomas ended up with it, and he took the initiative to try and recreate what the tractor originally looked like. So there was some documentation at John Deere with some photographs and a little bit of text code. I don't think they had any blueprints or any drawing or anything. So they recreated the tractor. So everything that's gray here, that's what they found buried. Everything that's different or painted, they had to reconstruct. So the basic engine was from the Waterloo Boy tractor engine. So they were able to, to get that far. They had to totally redesign this whole clutch mechanism. I think the axles maybe from a Waterloo Boy, I'm not sure about that, or where they found the radiator, but everything else had to be reconstructed. So the original design, the model here was all gear driven, okay? But there was so much stress in the crankcase there. With gears meshed, you want to push apart, okay? But if you have a chain drive, it kind of pull together. Cast iron is a lot stronger in compression than it is in traction. So the successful design that came out of the Model D was a chain drive, okay? So when you chain drive something, the wheels run in the same direction, right? When you gear drive something, they go in opposite directions. So when you watch them start this thing, instead of grabbing the wheel and going like this, he's got to go the other way.
My name is Alex Manns. I live up north by Alvarado, Minnesota, just north of Grand Forks. I've been an active member for about 12 years now. Got involved with a friend during high school and been active since then. I bought this tractor from Stanley Sandman in 2012, and he had restored it when he bought it in the early 90s. It came from out east. There weren't a lot of these tractors shipped to this area. They were mainly used for 1 or 2 row cultivating and planting in the small farms by, Ohio, Indiana area. I got this tractor, it had been sitting for about 5 years, so I got it running again and then stripped it down and painted it and brought it to a lot of tractor rides and shows since then. So I'm on the John Deere feature committee. We've been working for about the last 3 years getting this planned. It's been a lot of work, but enjoyable at the same time. We're very grateful for all the people that have taken all the time and spent all the money to get their exhibits here. We've got people from all corners of the United States that have brought stuff in, so very grateful for that.
My name is Scott Vogel. I'm from Fargo, North Dakota. This here I have is a John Deere D, which my father and my 3 uncles farmed with. And it was, they say, one of the tractors that they stylized back in 1939. Yeah, it's the first year they stylized it. And from 1939, and then finally in 1983, it was our last year that we farmed with this thing. And the reason why that we don't farm with it anymore, it's not because it wore out. We just quit using it, and that's it. And so when my father and I restored that thing, we had some issues with it. See, everything was all like rusted brown until we finally painted it. And we've been restoring some other John Deere implements like plows and things like this. And yeah, I once read a story about John Deere, how he became famous for plows. For one thing, how he invented it. John Deere made a steel that people make steel to make circular saws. So he made a moldboard out of that type of steel, and it worked just as hoped, and it plowed the ferrule on a tough prairie saw and polished the surface, and we figured John Deere was a genius. He also invented the first riding plow too. And yep, that's all I have here.
Brian Nelson, grew up in Rollag here, been here all my life. From Hitterdal, Minnesota right now. I got married and 3 boys and a grandson, and I think my grandson's gonna end up with this tractor. This is one my grandpa bought new in 1936. It's been in the family the whole time. It's actually one of the oldest tractors up here. They used it to pull water wagons for the steam engines in the early shows. And yeah, it's been quite kind of fun. It's running pretty good this year, I hope. They're going to make every parade. So they're, yeah, kind of fun. 2024 is our John Deere feature this year. We're so fortunate to have so many collectors come up with beautiful tractors. And we got tractors of every condition from all over. Local tractors from Pennsylvania, all over the place. I don't know if we'll ever be able to top this one. The weather's going to be ideal. All 4 days of sunshine and 70 degrees. Yeah, I don't know if this will ever be repeated again, because we got tractors that are here by collectors that are may never be out again. So they're yeah, there's a lot of families up here with kids that just walk around. The parents are walking forward and the kids are walking backwards. So there's lots to look at. A lot of fun. That work?